Is it going?
Tēnā koe te katoa. Mā Wharekura taku ingoa.
Ko Awhina Dickson taku ingoa.
Tēnei tō māua tono mo te wāhanga tuarua o te NPA ruarau matahi. Kei te kōrero māua, we are going to be having a group discussion on the current topic, what is copyright. Just before we get into the discussion, I have to say that I believe copyright has had a major influence on Māori performing arts, especially with tēnei mea ko te APRA. You know, what is this? As our people actually know what this is. Performing arts, not only kapahaka, but also across the board in mainstream media, mainstream music, Māori music. I know of instances where people have written songs and they're proper songs from the heart, and next minute you see it on being taken up by other Māori and used as their own waiata. So that's going to be a discussion topic for this time. The question is, what we are going to be discussing. The actual question is, what is copyright? Me and Awhina and I are completing this because we were unable to be a part of a group. So this is our group contribution to the kōrero for the marking purposes of this paper. I'm going to bring Awhina on this discussion. What is copyright, Awhina?
What is copyright? Copyright means patent or rights to anything written. According to the Ministry of Education,
Yeah, so what Awhina has articulated there, I interpret it like this. Copyright can be put onto anything that has been written, intellectual property. If it comes out of, or if it is thought up by the composer, they have the rights over that, exclusive rights. Unless, of course, they ripped it off from somewhere else. But anything written, anything, an idea, all this material can be copyrighted. Overall copyright legislation is that it's a basic principle of copyright that the expression of an idea in the original work is legally protected by copyright as soon as it becomes recorded in a material form. In other words, write it down, draw it, record it, film it, and the original material is automatically protected. Others include patent and trademark legislation, but these differ from copyright. They require registration for protection to be established. So copyright is anything that you've written down, any idea that you've recorded. You can register to claim that word copyright in New Zealand.
yes. So no, in New Zealand, copyright is an automatic, unregistered right that comes into existence every time an original work is created, published, and performed.
Yeah, that's easy to say, but you know, let's look at it from a realistic point of view. Just because you wrote it, if you don't actually register it as copyright, how are you going to prove that it's you were the one that did that work? So even though in New Zealand they say it is automatically registered as copyright, prove it, and that's going to be the basis of all arguments. You prove that it's your work. Well, I can't. Oh well, it's not your work then. So even though it says in New Zealand that it is automatically copyrighted, that's just gaining it, recorded or whatnot. So no, but Awhina's right. Copyright works that are created in most other countries. Copyright works that are created in Aotearoa by New Zealanders automatically registered as copyright. However, they whatever the parameters are for the government to manage that, I don't know. Do you know Awhina?
No.
No. I said that. Yeah, prove it. Kona te take. Okay, copyright. How is it managed? Exactly like I said in the top one, copyright is hard to manage unless you know the official process in which to obtain one. APRA MCOs represented the copyright in the New Zealand music industry. I have some friends at the moment that they've written, over 200 songs over the years, and he wants to look at registering or initiating the process through APRA to copyright his music. So he's going through that at the moment. He's asked me to help him come on board with it, but to be perfectly honest, I'd never clue what APRA is or how they work. All I know is that they are the mana, I suppose. The mana to register your compositions as your mahi. Copyright is the means by which creators such as composers and songwriters make a living from their work. Now you want to read through that part. We're just reading definition of what copyright is.
So, the law gives copyright owners a number of exclusive rights to control how and when their work is used and to negotiate payment for its use. Collecting societies such as APRA and MCOS administer a certain number of these rights on behalf of their members. We exist because it is often impossible or impractical to license the copyright on an individual basis. By acting as a link between the users and creators of copyright material, we provide a simple means of helping users comply with their copyright obligations and ensuring copyright owners, songwriters, composers, and publishers are paid for the use of their work. APRA and MCOS each administer different aspects of copyright that exist in the musical work.
Does that mean that they pretty much are a big database of registered music? Well, this is the discussion. I want to bring you in. I want to discuss it. We just don't read it, we discuss it. So does that mean that APRA and MCOS are a big database of songs that have been registered to them, and it is easier to manage because they know who's got what? Is that what I'm understanding this is?
Mama.
That was a question to you, by the way.
I don't know, by the way.
Does your rōpū copyright their material?
Yes.
Yes, by acknowledgement of the composer in the year that it was composed. We don't put it through the APRA or MCOS administration. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just we're just too hoha. We don't really want to go down that one. We're not after monetary gain from every time our waiata is used. Pretty much it's a Māori idea that has been taken on board where waiata written are to be sung and performed. That is the biggest acknowledgement of our rōpū's mahi is that it is performed. Lots of mahi that's been put into the matatini, into regional competitions, are used once and never used again. Why sometimes it's due to, well, if I can remember back in 1995, we performed the haka for the fiscal envelope. One of our open members said, "Oh, we should use that item again." And we said, "No, you can't use it again. Not really. Not for current issues happening in Aotearoa. We're going to go back to the fiscal envelope. That just seems a bit, bit out of touch with what's happening. Even though it was a nice item, but, it's got to be relevant to the times too. But yeah, if I look back at more there, they're a bit different, where it's a recount of battles that have happened. Um, I don't really see as fiscal envelope fitting into the same category as Waiata Motet, where they're accounting for past killings, the love between two people, Waiata Aroha, Waiata Tangi, the departed of a loved one. Where I don't think fiscal envelope really fits into that the category. What do you think of it?
Hey? Yeah.
This discussion is going well. Okay, you want to read the question?
What effect does this have on the use of your compositions within the whānau, hapu, or iwi?
What effect does this have on the use of your compositions within the fund? Well, I reckon, as I stated just now, the biggest compliment that is paid to a composer is that the items are sung, the items are performed. What do you reckon?
I agree.
Why?
Like you said, it's the biggest compliment.
Yeah, it's all about getting as a music writer composer. You know, if your stuff is remembered and sung, there's just I'm thinking of names like Noi Pewhairangi, the Alvania's Prime, these Māori singer-songwriters, which their music's out there living, across the motu. It's not just sung in their own backyards, in their own tribal areas. They're sung outside of that parameter, which is huge, because they'll never be forgotten as singer-songwriters. Tui Teka, Ruatahuna,
Here in Melbourne.
in Melbourne. These singer-songwriters, they were able to transgress the tribal boundaries. Lots of our singer-songwriters only exist in their own waka, in their own home, their own kainga, which is nothing wrong with it. But great ones, they're able to transgress past it, where their songs are sung all over the motu. So in terms of copyright, copyright hasn't really hasn't really played a huge part within my idea of what a Māori singer-songwriter is and its effect on the composition of the whānau hapu iwi. I do know one of my friends is very touchy when her waiata song sung, and that's okay too. Those waiata that she had were quite personal, to her, and for her own whakaaro, her own mind, those are her babies. Koe no, ko tata oti tēnei wahana kia tātou. Thank you for returning to our discussion topic, Awhina, on copyright. You got any examples of how does the copyright of material for your ropu affect the iwi o the hapu o the whānau?
Um,
I have one example of this way. One of the me kira nā kuia Wharekura o te hapu o nā pōtiki kua mate. Kua tukuna ia ki te tira tau kahurangi, ki te huinga o te kahurangi, ki tō tātou atua, ko tōne ingoa, ko te auhua kirani, Woodhouse, engari ki kia mātou, ko Nandy Dolly. Now, when my friend composed this particular waiata, he went and approached the whānau and said, I'm going to write a waiata for the kuia. And, yep, they were very open to that. You know, their nana just died. They thought it was a nice touch. My understanding of mainstream media, mainstream music, is that kia hone, I roto I te ao Pākehā, you don't have to go and ask permission from someone to do that. You can sing about whoever you want. Engari was very, from a Māori point of view, Māori perspective, was very nice, very, you know, te tikana that you go and ask them, I want to tito a waiata for your kuia. And to me, that is a form of copyright. Copyright not in the essence that what has been explained previously in this discussion, but copyright in, you know, that's their kuia. You know, that's their kuia. She's all of our kuia, but that's their kuia. And to be able to, you know, go to them and ask permission first is, you know, very Māori. And I think that is one thing me huri tēnei mea copyright ki te ao Māori, ki ngā tikana Māori hoki. It doesn't have to be so black and white. You know, here's copyright, blah, blah, blah. You know, we can still put our own tikana into copyright. Pata it's ki te whānau, box one ticked, ka pai. You know, next thing the music was composed. The music was composed for this waiata. Taken back to the whānau. How do you like this music? Fine, box number 2, ticked off. Then they wrote nā kupu, tito I nā kupu. Box number 3, ka pai. And all this was done in consultation with the whānau. You know, and the end result was a beautiful waiata for Nandy Dolly, which is copyrighted by Kino Haku Fofo, and will be going through the process of the APRA, kia pupuri, ai te mauri o wera kōrero. And, you know, let's just say that that music there is put on APRA. I suppose it's quite trendy to have stuff put on APRA. Well, I wrote a song, I put it on APRA. Wai, ooh, oh, feels good. Oe no. Ai, kua tata e ke te wā mo tēnei o nā kōrero. Maia Wharekura tēnei, e kōrero atinei kia koutou i aku whakaaro. Kai te tika aku whakaaro, kai te tino mōhio, enari, kua whakatau tēnei kaupapa I wainanu I a māua ko Awhina. Kia ora.
kia ora.